Hello and welcome to another video. Welcome back if you've been here before. Welcome if you're new. It's great to have you here. My name is Jen. I am a librarian and I'm going to talk about books. I've been away for a little bit and I did post on the community tab and on Instagram my reasons for that, but it was essentially so that I could focus on finishing my PhD. Now, technically I finished, but technically I haven't because we're still going and there's still loads to do. But there will be another video that I will film at some point and put on, which will just allow me to kind of talk about this in a lot more detail. So I'm not going to talk about it here. This is also not going to be a catch up because lots has been going on, and I'll probably do that in another video as well. I've got a few ideas about different videos that I want to talk about different things. But right now, just to kind of ease myself back into actually having a camera on and switching it on and filming and doing things, I just thought I would make this a little bit easy and just do a quick TBR for August. So hopefully this video will go up on the 1st of August. Barring any technical issues, you should be seeing this on the 1st of August. So what are your plans for August? What are you planning on reading? It's, I know, a summer month for lots of people, depending on which hemisphere you live in, I guess, but it's a holiday month for lots of people. So if that is you, I hope you are having a nice summer, having a nice holiday, having a nice break, whatever you're doing. I will not be going away on holiday, but I will not be working on my PhD until I think the second week of September, which is when I have a meeting with my supervisors where we talk about what I've done. I said I wasn't going to talk about it, and there I go. But I don't have I was going to say I don't have anything to do. I have loads to do. I'm always busy, but I don't have any studying to do. So I feel very justified to just sit on the sofa and do some reading, which is what I've been doing for the last few days. And it's been so nice. I've really missed just sitting around and doing nothing but reading. It's been really joyful. So I'm not really putting together a huge TBR for this month because I'll just see where the month takes me, but I have some ideas. And so first I'm going to talk about the TBR Reading Spa. I'll explain what that is if you don't know. And then I'm just looking over here to my left at some books, and I'll just tell you about a few other things that I might get round to this month. The TBR Reading Spa was started by myself and my lovely friend Kerry, whose channel I will link to below, just because we both wanted to reduce our TBRs a little bit. It's just a fun, relaxed way, because I don't really like the pressure of you must read a certain number of books. I know some people love and they thrive on reading challenges that are really difficult, and I love watching people's videos where they talk about that, but I don't like that. I just like it to be totally chilled. So if you've never joined in, this is super chill and you can join in at any point. There will be a link in the description box below to the Google Drive where I have uploaded all of the images for all of the little quizzes for every month. So if you want to join in at any point, if you want to plan your whole year's reading, you can do that. If you want to join in now, you can do. So each image will look like something like this. I will put this on the screen a bit bigger in a moment, but it's just a fun thing that we decided to do, where rather than just give you a prompt and then you have to try and find something, we've given you 3 different prompts and you do this little quiz to work out which prompt you really want. And it's just a kind of, yeah, it's a kind of low pressure way of doing it. You can do the quiz and you can get an answer that you want, or you can lie and change it. No one's going to check. So I'm going to put this on the screen, but for August, the questions are very much around book covers, which meant I spent a lot of time looking at my shelves trying to find a book cover that I either liked or didn't like. I was looking at each book like, do I like this? Do I not? It was very difficult. Anyway, it was fun. I really enjoyed it. So the question this month is, what kind of book covers do you find most appealing? And there are 3 options. Do you like classic and understated? Do you like quirky and unusual? Or do you like bold and striking? And that will lead you to different questions, which will then in turn lead you to a prompt. Like I said, it's quite silly and it's quite fun. And I'm really enjoying the TBR Reading Spa. It's just a great way of helping me pick books off my shelves. When I first looked at this, I wasn't sure what I would go for, but I don't know if bold and striking, I mean, these are all in the eye of the beholder, I think. I guess I like some bold and striking, but what I think is bold and striking, other people might think is just a bit weird. Classic and understated, I really, really like. I do like the Persephone books, you can see them all here. And although grey is not my favourite colour, I don't like the colour grey, I do quite like that all of their books are just this grey colour. I quite enjoy that. Quirky and unusual, I mean, it depends on the book, doesn't it? It really does. But I decided to, so what I do every month is I pick 3 options. I think I've actually got 4. I've got 4. No, 1, 2, 3. I've got 4. So I've picked 4, so I'm going to go through each one. So the 3 prompts are to read a book with an ugly cover, to read a book with a cover you usually wouldn't pick up, or to read a book with a beautiful cover. So you can use all 3 prompts, you can just do one of those prompts. So for read a book with an ugly cover, so the one that I decided to go for, a book with an ugly cover, I mean, I don't think it's that ugly, but I really struggled. There wasn't a huge number of books with ugly covers on my shelves. But Elevator in Saigon by Thuận, which is a book published by Tilted Axis Press. I'm not sure when it was published, actually. But Thuận is the author of Chinatown, which I think was nominated for things. I don't know. I can't remember. But it feels like a novel that's like in my head has been, everyone read it. Not me, obviously. But yeah, so Elevator in Saigon is not something that I picked up myself. So this was a book that was in my book advent calendar. I've still got a little piece of paper from it. It was on day 11 and it was found by my wife in a second-hand bookshop because I know you enjoy translated fiction. And this book is translated by, let me find the translator for you, Nguyễn An Lý. And this is about a woman who is estranged from her mother, and her mother dies. This is the whole premise of the book, it's on the back. Her mother dies in an accident, falling down an elevator shaft in the narrator's brother's house. He's just built a big house and it's got an elevator in it. And so the whole premise is that he builds this house and then his mum dies there. And she has to kind of go back for the funeral, but also to kind of work out what is going on. And yeah, it's very mysterious, and I'm really, really intrigued. Like, I do love translated fiction, and it is Women in Translation Month. Is it in August? Is that true? Did I make that up? I've kind of forgotten what time is and what's going on, but I think it is. So I'm really intrigued. I don't particularly like this cover. I'm not a huge fan of it. So I guess that's a book with I feel so bad calling it ugly, but it is. It's ugly. I don't like it. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side over there. Also, so the next prompt, just having a look here, is read a book with a cover that you wouldn't usually pick up. Now, I don't pick up books with ugly covers, so probably that one. But actually this one is another one which was on my book advent calendar last year, which I've decided to pick for this prompt. So this is our Hideous Progeny by C.E. McGill. This is a book which I think is about the great niece, yes, of Victor Frankenstein, who doesn't really know about what happened to her great uncle. And this book is described as gothic, inventive and queer. So I'm absolutely here for this. It does sound really intriguing, but I don't like this cover. So it's definitely an ugly cover. And this is why I decided to pick it up for a book with a cover I wouldn't normally pick up. I wouldn't normally pick up a cover that's this busy because I don't really like really busy covers. I think there's a lot going on here, and it just doesn't appeal to me. I feel like you know what I mean, this kind of cover. There's lots of books with this kind of cover, and I do tend to ignore them. So I feel like I probably wouldn't pick this up. So that's another one which I do want to get around to, and I might be in the mood. I feel like I'm going to mood read in August, but that will definitely fit that prompt. So the last prompt is read a book with a beautiful cover. Now, I looked through all of my books, and having said I don't buy books with ugly covers, I also couldn't find many that had beautiful covers, because I don't know, what would you describe as beautiful? I have 2 for this. I think the first one I'm going to mention is probably the one I'm least likely to get around to, because I don't know if I'm in a non-fiction mood this month. I've read a lot of non-fiction recently, mostly for my studying, but even though it's got nothing to do with what I've been studying, still I feel like fiction's where I'm at the moment. So I feel like I probably will least likely be getting around to this book. That's a very convoluted sentence, wasn't it? But this is by Barrington, and it's called The Graces, The Extraordinary Untold Lives of Women at the Restoration Court. And this is about, I want to say, Maria of Modena. Is that real? Who married... yes, it is. Who married the future King of England, James, Duke of York, and she was launched into the court of Charles II. So this is about her and all of the women around her. And it just sounds like exactly my kind of thing. I think this is a beautiful cover because, I mean, obviously you can't tell because you can't feel, but if you get a chance to go into a bookshop and grape the hardback, it's embossed. And it's embossed to kind of look like as if it's an embroidery, which I really love. I really enjoy that. It's very satisfying. yeah, and I think it's a beautiful colour. I just think this book is beautiful, actually. So I've convinced myself now that I do own beautiful books, and I do think that this book is absolutely. And look at the inside as well. I mean, that's really, really. Is the book itself? No, it's not. It's plain. But inside is very, very nice. That's got a little tapestry there. I mean, it's also got pictures in as well. So if we look at the pictures, I mean, who doesn't love some artwork? Who doesn't love some fancy paintings of rich nobility? I mean, why not? It's very beautiful. Anyway, I think, like I said, I'm probably least likely to get around to this, but it has been on my shelf for so long. But I really, really, really want to read it very, very soon. So that is a beautiful book cover. But the one that I will actually be picking up, because I think I'm going to pick this up first, because it is released this month. This might confuse a few people who don't know that this is a thing, but this is The Mare by Angharad, Hampshire. And I think that this is a beautiful cover because I really like covers that are quite simple and quite understated. This is clearly my kind of thing, so I do think this is a really beautiful cover. Now, I'm going to insert an image of what The Mare, the original version, actually looked like. So on the screen now will be the original version, which I used to have. I no longer have that copy. So this was released in September 2024, I believe, if I've remembered that correctly. And I think I'm misremembering everything. I should actually script my video, shouldn't I? But I think it was released by Unorthodox Press, who are a very, very small publisher in the UK, who publish books by authors from the north of England. And when it was released by that press, it was shortlisted for the Walter Scott Prize. And it had this cover that is on the screen right now. And I had a copy of it because I bought it when it was longlisted for the prize because I really wanted to read it. And I can't remember what was happening. Maybe it was a PhD thing. I don't remember. Something happened and I couldn't get around to reading it at the time. But I mentioned it on a video, and the absolutely lovely, or maybe it was, did I mention it on Instagram or was it a video? I think it was on a video I mentioned it. But the absolutely lovely author Angharad offered to send me a copy of the new version, which is this one. And so I now have a copy of this. So what happened was, it was so successful under Unorthodox Press that it was then picked up by Penguin. You'll see the little Penguin logo there. So I don't know, because I haven't read the original. I know many people have. I don't know how much of it is different, but I do know that it is different. So it's not just the same book in a new wrapper. It's not just the odd thing here or there changed. I think there are bits of it that have been changed. Now this, despite having a beautiful cover, I don't think is a particularly cheerful book. So I've got something that might help balance that out. But this is the true story of a woman who was a guard, a Nazi guard in a camp, and got the nickname the Mare because she used to kick people to death. And then after the war, moved to America, married I think a former US war veteran who she met whilst holidaying in Austria in 1957. And they moved to America, and it is there in the 1960s that a Nazi hunter tracked her down. So this is the amazing true story of that. So this is something that has been on my shelf for a while, but in its old version, it was on my shelf for a while. And as soon as I found out that it was being re-released as a slightly different version, I decided actually to just wait and read this one. Which, you know, if I had read the original, I could have then explained to you the differences between the two, but I'm sure somebody else will do that as well, because I have too many books to read and I can't read them all. So I am really intrigued to get around to read this. So I believe, unless it's changed, that this is being released at the end of August. So it should be, you can pre-order it now, it should be available to pre-order. And I will be able to tell you at the end of August what I think of this, and then it should be released. So I'm very excited to get around to read this. So to balance out the book, which is literally about a Nazi concentration camp guard, which I'm assuming I'm going to need to balance with something a little bit more lighthearted, I decided to go for a children's book. I also have a Jane Austen, which I could potentially read. So what I had picked to read for Jane Austen July, but totally ran out of time because I had to do my PhD, was Sense and Sensibility. So I still have this copy from the library of Sense and Sensibility, which I can read to tick off a box on the library bingo for my local library. I did a whole video about this just in case anyone else who isn't part of our library system but wants to take part in a fun bingo, which you can do over the summer, based on library books, so only getting books from your library. I'll drop a link below to that video as well, but this is one, I think I picked this for the bingo slot of a book which has been adapted into a TV or movie, and I still haven't seen the movie. of Sense and Sensibility. So I want to read this. So that might be a nice balance, light-hearted balance, but I also picked a children's book, which I have always wanted to read. It is quite big, and it doesn't have a big font, even though it's a children's book, and even though it has many, many pages. I'm just quickly looking. It doesn't have page numbers. Oh my God, it doesn't have, oh no, wait, it does have page numbers. Why do they stop before the end? Bear with me. Oh, I see. Okay, so the book itself is 543 pages, but it then has the second book in the trilogy at the end, a little bit at the end, that's why it doesn't have page numbers. So the book anyway is Inkheart by Cornelia, Funke, and this is translated from the German by Anthea. I have always wanted to read this. It's been a really long time since I've read any children's books. In fact, since I stopped working in a school library, I sort of had saturated myself with YA and middle grade books. So I haven't read any since then, I don't think. So this will be the first one that I've read in quite a long time now. But I've always wanted to read it because everyone tells me it's great. If you've read Inkheart, I would love to know what you think. It's a chunky book, and it's not from my TBR. It's not from my shelves, but it is a book I've always wanted to read. So very excited for that. And because I've got like time and I've got space to maybe just sit down for a whole afternoon and read a book, I thought, oh, she leans to get the heavy book. I could get back to the love songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. So if you haven't seen the previous videos that I've done about this book, this is one of the books that I picked off my shelf to kind of like try a chapter and see what I think, or try the first few pages. And I instantly fell in love with this book. I absolutely love the writing style. It was just mesmerising almost immediately, and I absolutely loved it. But it's very big. And if you're wondering, if you're new here, why I keep mentioning the size of books, it's because I read books that are about 200 pages long, and that's my sweet spot. I don't tend to pick up really long books, but there is something that's quite satisfying. Having said I don't like them, there is something very satisfying about really getting your teeth into a really long, chunky book. And that's why I thought August might be the perfect time. But someone said to me, when you've got a big book like this, you could just tear it in half and then you've got two books. Now, many people I think would be horrified at the idea of ripping a book in half, but I metaphorically, not literally, did this. So I stopped halfway. It's actually a little under halfway, but I stopped at what I thought was a kind of natural halfway point, and I feel like I've read part 1 of this, and now I'm going to go back to part 2, and I feel like I'm emotionally ready to continue with this because it's so good and I'm absolutely loving it. I know that most normal people can read a big book in one go, and I have done it and I will do it, but this one, for some reason, I decided not to. But those are my possibilities for August. So if you're taking part in the TBR Reading Spa, do let me know what you're planning on reading in August, maybe what you read in July as well. I will have a video soon which recaps some of my recent reads. And I would love to know if you have filmed any videos about the TBR Reading Spa. I know lots of people have, and I'm still catching up because as well as not being able to film anything, I also haven't been able to watch YouTube recently. So I have added lots of videos to my watch later list, which is currently at several hundred, and they're going back to May, so it might take me a while to catch up, but let me know in the comments if you have a video that you want me to see. Let me know what you're planning on reading in August. I would love to know that. If you've read any of these books, do let me know as well what you think maybe I should get to or prioritise first, what you think I should go to. I would love to know all of your thoughts on all of those things. And until next time, thank you so much for watching.